life feel boring, or do you feel stuck doing the same thing every day? If so, this video is for you. My name is Paloma and I love going places and trying new things. My hope is that this video will be helpful for two groups of people. One, if you're planning a trip and you want to make the most of that trip, to have a totally unique experience. And two, if you're not traveling anywhere but you just want your everyday life to feel more exciting and adventurous. There's always adventure in our own backyards. We just have to look for it. Today I'll be sharing 5 steps for how you can start to feel like more of an explorer yourself. So what exactly is an explorer? And I do mean explorer, not colonist. But as an explorer, I think they are curious, they want to see what's out there, they work with nature, they learn from peoples and the cultures around them, and ultimately they go to a destination and they leave that destination with a wider perspective and more wisdom. Every single day we could learn more things, meet more people, taste more food, and there's so much to be explored. So thank you for clicking on today's video. Let's get into it. The first step is to look at your destination with fresh eyes. If you know nothing about this place, start researching. The internet is your friend, ChatGPT is your friend. If you think of an explorer, they would rely heavily on maps. They would arrive at their destination and find their way, constantly referring to any maps that they had, or they'd be making their own maps. Today, we do not need to be using paper maps. In fact, we have such better tools available to us. Pull up your phone or computer and just do some research. Are there any national parks? You could try museums. There are so many festivals happening in cities that lots of times people don't know about. Check your local listings and go somewhere that you wouldn't normally go. I'll list out some of my favorite resources that I always check when I want to explore a destination. The other day I went to a park. When I got there, I found monkey bars, which leads me to my next recommendation, which is to get in touch with your physicality. This will look so different for everyone. We have different strengths and abilities, interests, so do what you feel comfortable with, but get in touch with your physical body and your ability to try things that are outside of your comfort zone. Maybe it's something you could try with your hands, like knitting or crocheting. The other day I tried making these coasters and I spent an hour doing it the first time. And then eventually my fingers started to get used to it, and then I was able to do it much faster. Shout out to Create with Jen. I can link the tutorial that I used. It was really helpful and I loved doing it. If you imagine an explorer, they're probably with a machete cutting down trees, it's raining, but because they're there to survive and they're there to explore, they get used to being uncomfortable. We're putting ourselves in a vulnerable position, trying something physically challenging in order to become confident and proud in our own abilities. If you have a hard time motivating yourself to try physical activities, do your best to find a buddy. For example, my partner Alex is much more physically adventurous than I. He loves to go rock climbing and he loves a challenging hike, so he's constantly pushing me out of my comfort zone. There are tons of meetup groups. People go on hikes, they play pickleball. This can be a great way to make friends because you have something to bond over. The next way to become an explorer is to surround yourself with cultures that you're unfamiliar with. Put yourself in situations where you get to try new food, meet new people. This expands your thinking. It's really the way that we can become the most empathetic to other people, when we surround ourselves with people who are different from us. Now, I think some of the easiest entry points here are music and food. Paloma negra, ¿dónde andará? If you're traveling to a really different place, this might be your only option, but you could also do this locally. If you see there's a festival that has a lot of food from a certain culture, just stop by, see if you can also meet some people and ask them questions about their culture. Maybe you're curious about a certain spirituality or religion. I've seen philosophical meetup groups or documentary screening meetup groups. Or is there a music genre that you're unfamiliar with that you could try? Volunteering could be another great way to do this. Be willing to try things that aren't you. There's no such thing as you. You are constantly evolving and constantly changing. The next recommendation is to connect with the natural world. Spend some time considering your ancestors who used to be really closely tied to nature. There is research that shows when you spend time around trees in nature, your nervous system calms down. When you go for a walk in a forest, there's so much life around you. If you're just still and you listen, you'll hear birds chirping, chipmunks scurrying around, trees rustling in the wind. I believe that explorers have to respect nature because they're working so closely with it. Nature is life itself, and an explorer is someone who is just trying to live life to the fullest. The final tip in this video is to alter your typical paths of travel. This has to do with switching up your morning routine or your commute routine. It's so easy for us to just get stuck doing the same thing in the same way every day. Maybe you drive to work or school. Could you take a bicycle? Could you take the bus? Maybe you drive a different path. If you always listen to the news in the morning, maybe you switch to music. What do you eat every day? How do you prepare it? It's amazing the way new ideas come to your mind when you switch things up. Variety is the spice of life. The reason that we're doing all of this is to feel more alive. And remember, it's okay if it takes longer to get to your destination. An explorer knows that it is about the journey, not the destination sometimes. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some ideas. I'd really appreciate it if you'd give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. Time to go exploring!